add also, Jamie, on the pictures is that all the players were actually generally happy to hug him at the end. Potter, you know, we all been there. You know, when you hug your coach, just a quick one. Yeah, right, good game. But they cannot you. I'm talking in general. But it's the way they were really happy for him. You could see that they were happy for him. And as you said, you know, I've been thinking about this situation and about Potter, and every time all I have when I see him is empathy. Whenever I see him, like you feel like you want to give him a hug. You know, and the players...
A quick one or a good one?
No, a good one.
A good old squeeze.
A long one.
Yes.
Stay here. You know, no, I'm happy for him, so he will sleep a tiny bit better tonight. But then tomorrow morning, problem.
One of the things we talked about was the fans, right, and the lack of patience that they were having, particularly with Graham Potter. It felt like it came more so from the side of the fans rather than the ownership in Todd Boehly. So I guess I just wonder, does that now change just because of one game, or that game and the Leeds result? Does that switch? Are the fans now on board with him, or how does that work?
No, the fans aren't going to change on one game, but I think this gives him time to get them on board, if you like. So he's going to be there till the end of the season. Now, there was a question probably 4 or 5 days ago where I think journalists around Chelsea were getting fed from the club, or briefed, whatever you want to call it, that he could be on a knife edge in terms of his job and his position. He's won both games, and, you know, that'd be massive for him as a manager. And I just think that buys him time to the next sort of quarterfinals of the Champions League. And once you get into that stage, you're almost at the end of the season, so it'd be ridiculous then to change it. They're not going to make the top 4 in terms of league position, but that could be the way they make it. Well, that's the only way they're going to make it in terms of winning the Champions League. So, and they have got great pedigree. You think of some of the atmospheres we've seen at Chelsea and the run that they had with Thomas Tuchel, the history they've got in European competition, so they can use that, you know, to really help them. But that cements him there to the end of the season. Whether he's there at the start of next season or not, I still don't think he will be.
Our post-game coverage of the Champions League here on CBS Sports Network and Paramount Plus. Kate Abdo, Thierry Henry, Jamie Carragher, Micah Richards. Good to have you all with us. We're going to take you through some of the action from the game between Chelsea and Dortmund. Chelsea winning 2-0 at Stamford Bridge, 2-1 on aggregate. That meant after Dortmund had won the first leg 1-0 in Germany. Let's go through the first goal. Raheem Sterling putting Chelsea in front, Micah.
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit cagey at the start. Dortmund probably went into the first half with more possession, thought they did, but it wasn't clinical. But it came to Raheem Sterling in the box. Like I mentioned before the game, get yourself in an area where you can make the difference. He gets a little bit of luck, but he deserves a little bit of luck. I mean, Thierry, you're better to explain that better than me, but in terms of the position that he's in...
Well, give him a chance.
Talk to me, Thierry.
No, but obviously I was joking when I said a bit of chance, but the first contact of the ball is not that great, let's all be honest. That's a bit of chance after when he does dribble and get the bounce, the lucky bounce, shall I say, and then he finishes it ever so well.
But you need that, though. You needed that little bit of luck.
Well, they needed that, that's for sure.
They hit the post, they hit the bar in the last game. Today, they needed that little bit of luck, and they got it.
I think you described it really well off air when you talked about it. It was almost like watching the finish. It was like watching
the
Sterling.
first one was when he was at Liverpool.
Yeah.
The way he finished that. Then a bit of Man City, and now he's at Chelsea, he finished it.
So the winning goal for Chelsea that made it 2-0, there was a little bit of controversy surrounding that and how it played out. So let's take a look at how this one broke down. So we had a penalty incident. Chelsea awarded a penalty on a handball from Marius Wolf. Any complaints? I feel like you guys all think this is harsh, is that correct?
I think we're looking at it from the defender's point of view and putting ourselves in that position, and we feel it's harsh.
Even me as an ex-striker, it's harsh.
It is a penalty. That, in terms of the rules, in terms of the referee hasn't got that wrong, he hasn't made a mistake.
But is it a natural position, though, Jamie, would you not say?
I think it just comes away from his body, and I still feel it's because I'm putting myself in that position. You've got to defend and your arms are next to your body, but they are the rules right now. So I think we think it's harsh, but I think we all probably think it's a penalty.
OK, fine. So Kai Havertz steps up to take the penalty and hits the post.
Yeah, I mean, I'm absolutely fine with this rule. I actually quite like this rule in terms of the encroachment. It's not about encroachment. So you see the player there circled. It's because he's cleared the ball. Now, if that had gone to a player, a Borussia Dortmund player, I hope I'm right here, by the way, if that had gone to a Borussia Dortmund player who was behind the line and he cleared it,
the penalty wouldn't have been retaken.
Even though you've encroached, it doesn't make that much difference if the ball then lands at you.
Right.
So if that had been, the ball would have landed at Ben Chilwell and he'd have put it in the goal would have been disallowed.
Okay.
Why is he stood there, though? I don't understand why. Why didn't he just go to 5 yards to the left? He's on the line. Do you know what I mean? He's in the
D is part of the box. That's
of course, that's what I'm saying. If he goes 5 yards to his left, he's fine. But he's standing in the D.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Okay, so let's take you out to our favourite FIFA rules expert. Christina Unkel is with us tonight for this one. Let's rewind a second, first of all, Christina. Just your take on the fact that the penalty was given. Good call from your perspective?
Yeah, the penalty decision was correct. I was actually a bit surprised that referee David Mackley didn't get that exactly in live play. And the reason is because the FIFA interpretations has been cleaned up in this year, that we're no longer taking necessarily distance. It's more of justifiable. But where the FIFA language they're using for us in interpretation is the player creating a barrier that's preventing the ball from being able to be distributed. Yes, he's close in proximity, but anytime you have a hand up that creates that barrier that prevents that cross from happening, that is the most current interpretation for handling offenses. So surprised you didn't get it, but correct on the VAR to make that recommendation. I knew this was going to be a recommendation for VAR and proper penalty decision.
You were surprised the referee didn't call it at the time. Now, in refereeing circles, or maybe people who were assessing the referee, would that almost be like a black mark against him in some ways? Because it doesn't matter, because he still got to the right decision eventually. But are you actually judging referees about how many times they actually get the right decision without using VAR?
Yeah, no, and correct. And this year would be, yes, it's a clear and obvious error of VAR recommendations. So the VAR gets a positive for this one. But when we talk about decisions on the field for the referee, we're removing the VAR when there's an analysis, when there's an assessment. The question is this a difficult decision for the referee? It's a very difficult decision. For example, the referee would never have the angle. That doesn't go against the referee in their assessment scores. However, here, because he has the angle, he has the perception, and it's an expected decision by the referee on the field, that would be something that would be marked up in his observation.
So I'm sure you heard Jamie's kind of breakdown of the encroachment rule and why that penalty was then retaken. Did he get that right? What was your perspective on that incident?
Yeah, so in penalty kick situations, it's very important to know, one, usually where the ball is, whether it's in the back of the net or if it's not. Here in this particular situation, though, because you have clear encroachment from both teams in this play, the referee could have even decided without the intervention or help from VAR that this encroachment could have occurred essentially because they're basically standing in front of him at the time the ball is kicked. However, here it's clear that Özcan has encroached in this play. I like how Meeks pointed out that he is in that semicircle. Now, why that semicircle exists is only for kicks or from penalty kicks, because the players must at all times be 9.15 meters or 10 yards from this penalty kick. And that is why that semicircle exists, because from that kick all the way to the outside of that little semicircle there is the 10 yards there. However, once he becomes involved in play, this is when VAR can recommend on encroachment, is when a player impacts the play and has encroached, then VAR is able to. Let's say Özcan didn't impact that play, and the VAR and the referee had not called encroachment in that play. VAR cannot intervene in those plays, only when that encroaching player impacts. So it was the proper recommendation once again by the VAR, and I can tell you Mackley is going to have to be thanking his VAR a lot tonight for helping him on those two KMIs or key match incidents.
Well, Christina, thanks for the praise, but it's Big Meeks, not Meeks. Let's get it right. Let's get it right, please.
Christina, good to see you, as always.
You all as well.
See you soon.
Bye.
Okay, so second time around then, let's take a look at Kai Havertz stepping up for that penalty. Same penalty taker, he puts it away this time.
I mean, the mentality of it, you know, when you've taken a penalty, you have to retake it. That happened to me, actually, in a World Cup. And I did it the other way round. I scored the first one and missed the second one. It's that mentality of the goalkeeper knows where I want to go.
Did you go the same way?
No, I went the other way.
Why did you? What was in your mind to go the other way?
Because he knew I wanted to go that way. I should have done a Kai Havertz.
So you just start second guessing
yourself. Did the keeper go that way though? Oh, did he? Which way did the goalkeeper go?
I sent him the wrong way on the first one.
Yes.
And then we had to be retaken.
So you went the other way, but which way did the goalkeeper go?
He went the same way.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. But what I'm saying is the mentality of that's why I was asking Thierry when the game was going on about that, how tough it is to take a second penalty. I mean, I'm asking you. I've done it.
Yeah, exactly. No, first and foremost, to go and take the first one.
Has that happened to you?
To retake it, yes, and I changed sometime, and sometime I actually went the same way. But what I like about Kai Havertz is, forget about retaking it, the way he is this season, the way he is at the moment. He's not scoring. He already went to take the ball, responsibilities. He misses, he goes again and take it. So you have to give him a lot of credit for that. And I thought he was going to hit it in the middle hard, remember? And he went the same spot. He just did it better.
What about Kai Havertz's performance overall tonight? How would you assess that?
I thought he was good on the first goal. You could see he held the ball ever so me sometimes very little of a Robin back to goal. The way he can hold the ball. Robin van Persie was very good with his left foot. The touch was always immaculate to try to bring people along. This is why I think out of the guy that used to be wingers or 10, he plays as a 9 because back to goal he can hold the ball well. Now he needs to make sure that he can transform that into more goals because you can play off him.
I think Havertz is a strange player in that there's a lot of players at Chelsea who haven't really performed. Ziyech has been there. You'd probably even say Pulisic's been there. Players coming in those attacking positions. Raheem Sterling hasn't really set the word. Havertz has done better than all of those players. But is it still enough to be the main man for Chelsea? It's sort of in between both. And that's why he always plays. He played under the last manager, he's played under this manager. But I think most people would still look at Havertz and think, is that enough to Chelsea for them to win the Premier League? Or I say win the Champions League, scored the winning goal in the final. But it still feels a little bit short of what the other top teams have in Europe and the Premier League, even though he's...
Position maintenant. Alors que se passe-t-il? Le buteur Hakim Ziyech est resté au sol.